Hi, I'm Rachael Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is Jaki Black, our resident starting over sweetheart. Thank you for joining us on Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black and White.
Whitefield.
We're going to get that.
We're going to get it.
God. We're only on number 3. It's fine. I gave us till number 7.
It'll be fine.
What are we talking about today? Or what are we drinking today, actually,
First
Rachael?
and
Tell me.
foremost, we are drinking, we're stretching the whiskey budget as far as possible this month, and we are once again drinking the current love of my life, Boxer Grail Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. From Rabbit Hole Distilleries, which is a women-owned whiskey company, and we're excited to continue to have them be featured on our show. So,
yes,
Jaki, I am pouring with my heart today. I am not measuring.
Let spirit push it out of the bottle, sister.
Out of the bottle.
But show me the ice mold. Do you want to show me the ice mold?
Oh, we got the ice molds today. Yes, and extra special today. I got jeweled ice molds, so they look like little diamonds. And what I did even more, and this is not a sponsored post, so they're little jewels and diamond shapes, and then I put edible glitter in the ice molds, so when it melts there will be glitter in my drink.
I literally cannot wait for this.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the outcome.
I know we're gonna go places today on the podcast, and I know that, but it's like so the edible glitter, if anyone's interested, we'll put it in the show notes, is from Fancy Sprinkles. I love them so much. I just carry them with me.
You should.
They do. It's wonderful.
I'm sorry. Do you have Fancy Sprinkles in your purse so that you can pour them in your champagne when you're out?
Yes.
Because if you sit, okay, good.
Yes.
First of all, fantastic. I never go ahead, push it out. There you go.
We're pouring.
Pouring.
Oh, starting to get sparkly already.
Look, it's sparkly. It sets a mood.
It is. Rachael is a whole mood. She is a.
That's not a lie.
That's not a
zero lies. You are a whole mood. This glitter is everything. I actually am thinking I should probably get some edible glitter and keep it in a spell bottle in my purse, because why wouldn't I?
Why? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? How could you not? How could you not? And then because Rachael is a little extra always, so it just I'm just like, how could I? Yeah,
you're ready to zhuzh a drink at the drop of a hat.
And you know what? Maybe for the whiskey traditionalist, this might be sacrilege, but it's me. I'm drinking. It's my own drink. I shall drink it the way I best see fit for myself, which is with a little bit of sparkle.
Yes. Cheers.
Clinkies. Yes. All right.
Clink, clink.
Now, our episode. What are we talking about today, Jaki?
We're talking about starting over and just showing them how it's done. Everybody's got to start over at least once in their lives. And quite frankly, it's the most terrifying thing that you can do. Luckily, being the starting over sweetheart, I've done it multiple times.
Yep.
So I'm exasperated at this point with how many times I've had to start over.
And today's show will be focusing on specifically starting over after divorce, a breakup, starting a new chapter that is scary in your life. But these takeaways can also be applied to, starting a new chapter in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be for a breakup, but that's what we will be focusing on, is our own personal histories and how we did it.
Right. How to do it fearlessly when you find yourself having to do it.
Yes. Yeah. So my story is a little shorter than yours, so I'll go first. So again, I was married at 21 and my husband left when I was 34. So I was married for a total of 13 years, pretty much my entire adult life at that point. And I did not see it coming. Things were kind of difficult. But I just thought, we're going to get past this too. And I came home and he had moved out, and then he told me we were done. So it was quite shocking, sobbing on the floor, not knowing what else you're going to do. Because I was doing part-time nails in San Diego, which is not an inexpensive place to live. And
no, it's not. There's no poor people allowed in San Diego. And quite frankly, you can make 100 G's and still be poor in San Diego.
Yeah. So long story short, we can get into this different episode, but he broke our lease, caused me to move out with our 3 dogs. into what I lovingly call as a beach bungalow, but it was someone's backyard back house in Imperial Beach. And
Mm-hmm.
then he stopped paying spousal support. So then for a while before I put the kibosh on that, but again, because there was no financial support at this point when I had put all of my time and energy into his career, pretty much. And then it put me on food stamps and state Medicaid. And I had a very deep shame about that for a really long time. And then we can get into where we are later in our lives, but that is in a nutshell my starting over story.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Mm-hmm.
Rachel, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Should I also tell my abridged version?
Yes. All three.
Let's First, I was married at 21. I'm just kidding. Big married at 21, divorced at 24 because the cops came and got him. Married at 25, divorced at 35 because the cops came and got him. Mm-hmm. Married at 39, 38 and a half, almost 39, divorced at 40. Super short that third time. Mm-hmm. Every single time I had to start over with either nothing or half of what I had. First marriage, I was the sole provider anyways. Surprise. But I had to get on medical, like Medicaid, state Medicaid, and I had to be on food stamps because even though I was the sole provider, he did bring in income under the table. I had kids and I was, 24, going on food stamps and state Medicaid. And yeah, I felt a deep shame as well. And now I look back and I'm like, thank God they had that.
That's what I said.
Makes me feel like a failure having to go on that. And no, it keeps you afloat.
Yes. And we grew up in the same area, which was very red and a very blue state. And it was always like, oh, these like welfare queens who are just like working the system. And I would go into the grocery store with my food stamps with my Coach bag. And I was just like, I felt I had to like dress down to like, now I deserve this, and which you come to realize like, no, when you could afford a Coach bag, which is an affordable luxury, it's not a Birkin.
Right.
Right. And so it's just more of, well, this bag is a few years old and I was in a different place then.
Yeah.
And
like we get so hung up on what people are going to think that we're on this assistance that we tend to avoid getting the assistance, which can be detrimental to us in the long run.
Yes.
Because of what other people might think.
And it really lit a fire for me to get off those programs as fast as possible because it's something I needed to do for myself. However, I will say being on those social programs pushed me very much into being a blue voter because I was like, I will never vote against having those things that do support people. They are there for a reason. Yes. And I will not ever vote against it. But that's neither here nor there. But I was so grateful for those safety nets that are in place, those social programs for a reason.
Same. Same. If I didn't have those, I don't know how my kids would have eaten, quite frankly. Yes. So as embarrassed as I was with my food stamps and, my benefits, I was not gonna not use them. You just sometimes have to. And that's sometimes part of starting over. And you can't you can't worry about what other people are thinking when you're in that part of your transition. Your life pivot is what I like to call them. Because sometimes that life pivot leads to fantastic shit. You just have to go through the shit to get to it.
Yes. So let's talk about going through the shit. So I always say, coming from what I lovingly refer to, and I can say it because I'm from there, but no one else can shit on our town. But I was like, I'm from a shit farm town. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of used to having nothing. So when you
Yeah.
go back to having nothing, you're like, I am comfortable not staying here, but like, okay, I've had nothing before.
Right. This
And
is fine.
I can I can come back to this because it's not that big of a life transition, and then we can start to rebuild. You know, it wasn't a new
Yeah.
thing to feel for me to have nothing, if that makes sense.
It
You
does.
know,
It
but
does.
also, you know, dare I say, when you've got nothing, you've got nothing to lose.
True. And
Mm-hmm.
you have only up from there. Like when you lose everything, you can't you can't focus on all the things you lost. You have to focus on like, okay, now it's time to rebuild
Mm-hmm.
because it's all gone. And
So
none of it really mattered anyways if it's all gone.
yeah. So what I did after my husband left, um, you know, everyone, people kind of get hung up on this because they say, oh, you divorced him. I said, well, I'm the one that filed for divorce. He left me, but I divorced him because I'm not going to sit and languish in just waiting on him. Like he told me he didn't want me. I don't need you to say it to me twice. I heard you the first time. So I then packed up my stuff, my 3 dogs in the car, and moved to Colorado. And I moved in to my sister's basement, and I lived there for 3 years.
Doing what?
Starting over. What's that?
Tell them what you did.
What
Because
I did. I say
like
my
for a
sister's
living. Because
basement.
I remember you were like doing like Uber for a while, right?
Yeah.
While
So
you were
what
going to school.
this is a great story. Yeah. So when I was a Navy wife for a very long time and I had a very successful nail business and career. And again, you have to close that down, shut all your successes down, move to San Diego. That's where his ship went. And then says no thank you anymore. So I'm gonna pack up, move to Colorado. I do nails for a very brief moment in time, but I was like, I need something with a 401k, paid vacation, paid holidays. I need to make money in with a salary that I'm not strapped to my desk, you know, whether it's feast or famine in the nail industry or the beauty industry. So I was like, I'm going to stop this career that I have loved for 10 years and I'm going to go to coding and web development school at
So
University of
random.
Denver. It's totally random, but I was like,
So
technology is
random.
the future. This is what they've been telling us our whole lives.
Mhm.
And what I do know is that I very much enjoy puzzles. However, coding necessarily isn't the thing for me. However, I'm really glad I have a greater understanding of the world around me, how things work.
Yeah.
And
Technology.
going to that program made me even more tenacious to figure things out, to ask questions, to find a
You're
way to get
literally
what
the
you
best
want.
Googler I've ever met in my life.
This is a sidebar for any of you who are interested in web development and coding. You don't need to go to school. It'll just, you're going to pay thousands of dollars to learn how to Google. And that is what developers do, is Google it. And we will
Wow.
figure it out because it's so hard that it's all open source on the internet. So anyways, that is how you learn how to code, is Googling. And I am a Google aficionado.
For real.
Yes. So after that, going to coding and web development school. Then I got a job at a marketing startup, which then opened doors. And buckle up, Jackie. I know you know this, but our listeners don't. I now work on a NASA contract. I work
I'm
for
snapping.
NASA. And I never would have ever been here if my husband hadn't left, if I hadn't have to pick myself up off the floor, if I hadn't have to
You
start
didn't have
again
a
and find
life
a
pivot.
way and stop living small because someone else wanted me to be that way because it
Right.
best suited them, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, from doing nails to now NASA. For real. This is so exciting.
It's a
So
big deal. It's a big jump.
I want to be very clear. I am not a rocket scientist by any means. I do work for their web modernization team. So coding school absolutely paid off. Bitch works for NASA.
Yes, sister. Cheers.
Mhm.
Yours. I
Thanks.
love being able to say like, oh yeah, I do a podcast with my friend. She works for NASA.
I will say that working on a NASA contract, I want to be very clear. I'm not a civil servant. I do work for a company, and
Right.
they pay
Whatever. She
me
shows me
for,
her work all the time and she's like,
yeah,
look what I did. And there's literally a NASA logo. So
look what I built
still impressive.
for the new
Still
NASA
impressive. It's hard
web.
when a life pivot is, I think, forced on you. Because I've been through both. I've been
Yes.
through the life pivot that is like, hey, did you have a bunch of plans for your future? And then the universe or God or whatever is like laughs at you. Ha 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 ha, brick wall right
Yes.
in front of that path. It's so hard when that's what happens. That's exactly what happened to me in my last marriage before last.
Husband number two.
Number two.
Mm-hmm.
Number two. Um, I had like this whole future, and sometimes it's super shocking. And sometimes, like, when you're going through a huge life change and you have to start over, it's not something that you would ever think was going to happen to you. And sometimes people don't know which direction to go to, and they just want to break down. They want to sometimes stay in that area. And like, I just wish I could take everybody by the hand and be like, okay, we're going to take 3 deep breaths and then we're going to move forward, because you got to like allow that emotion, but then you got to keep moving forward. Take the next step, no matter how hard or crazy this situation seems. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say sometimes, because I was going to say I was never going to leave the Limey. I was never going to leave him because I was nothing financially without him. And so it is more of that life transition was forced upon me, because as we are groomed to be kingmakers and be the good little wife and support him and follow his career around and do all this stuff, that it's then like, okay, well, my future is his
was
retirement.
wrapped up.
My future is in this person that I'm investing in actively. And then they say, no, thank you anymore. Nope, that doesn't work for me. Sorry, I'm going to go live my life. You have to go deal with this other person's choice that you didn't have any say in making, So it's really difficult. So it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, that's why I needed my own retirement. That's why I needed something besides just going and playing with glitter all day. I was an entrepreneur and did run a business like a badass. I want to be very clear about that. However, it was just like, we're just told, hey, not find a man and be okay. But it was like,
This is what you're meant to do.
It's his career and your job. So he still gets to keep his retirement. He still gets to keep his benefits. He gets everything. Like, his life didn't end. He kept the apartment. He got it, So it's like, he's not on food stamps. His life does not stop because he still has the money. And he is from England. So he always thought like, oh, when you get divorced in England, you just stop being together. I was like, no.
Oh, he thought it was like that here.
Yeah. And I was like, that's not
silly.
how it is. You're in America, motherfucker. You got married in America to an American woman, and you were going to have an American divorce. And it is a long-term marriage.
Welcome, America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, no, you're not just going to leave me, keep everything, and act like I didn't follow you around for freaking 8 years in the Navy.
You give up. We gave up our own lives and careers for them and their lives and careers, because society told us that that's what we had to do. And then they told us that, in fact, they didn't need us to do that.
Yeah. Or it feels like society is like, well, why did you trust a man for all of that stuff? Well,
because I was told I had to find somebody to take care of me, which is the first mistake. First of all. Yeah. Don't ever think that.
But, Jackie, you've started over quite a few times in your life. Can we talk about the shame that comes along with it?
Yeah. There's a lot because you're always worried about what people think, always. And I have a large social media platform, pretty large. And my TikTok social media was largely focused on me and my third husband's relationship. And we're calling him Miami for the show. And mine and Miami's relationship was toxic. So I was really holding on to the last breath because this is marriage number 3. And like, if I get divorced again, just call me Elizabeth Taylor at this point.
You're halfway there.
I am halfway there. I love being married. I'm going to do it a few more times. Chelsea Handler. Yeah. Anyways. But like, there's a lot of shame associated. Like, I kept saying to my mom, like, is this like, I'm going to fail at another marriage? I'm going to fail again. And like, you cannot think that way. You cannot think that you personally are the failure in the marriage, unless you are like cheating or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes marriages just don't work. Sometimes people shouldn't get married, and they do to like save their relationship, you know, and that comes with a ton of shame. But you really, when you know that it is time to do your starting over, that it is time to do your life pivot, you have to really like, I do this whenever and I've been in this situation so many times, but whenever I need a little confidence boost, I do it for myself. I look right in the mirror and I say something along the lines of, this either sucks or this is about to really suck. And I look myself in the eyes and I say that, but it does, like, that's not going to kill you. This is going to suck, or it sucks, and it's not going to kill you. You just have to keep putting your next foot forward, keep making the next right choice. Stop giving a shit what other people think, because once you get through this, all of those people who you are worried about thinking badly about you are going to be impressed that honestly, that you got through that shit like it didn't even bother you. And you watched me go through my last life pivot. It was traumatic. And it was like water off a duck's back. I feel like I made it look pretty smooth.
Yeah. Divorce.
Like always had, third divorce. Looked myself in the mirror and I was like, this is not my fucked up story. This is about to suck. This is about to be hard. And I left with nothing at all. It was just me and my dog. I didn't have furniture. I had trash bags and suitcases full of clothes. And I drove 3 days across the country to start the fuck over. And I'd stopped worrying about what people thought. And as soon as I stopped worrying about what people thought about my life pivot, I was really able to focus on all of the good things that were coming with the life pivot, no matter how hard it's been or was, like right at the beginning. And look at you now. You're at the like peak of like what you've been working towards after living in your sister's basement.
Yes. So my journey personally, it took me 5 years to get to what I refer to as my North Star. And for our dear listeners, it was after the Limey had left and I could pick myself up off of the floor and finally, in a few days later, form a cohesive thought. It was, what do I want for my life? I want something that no one can take away from me.
Right.
So mine was, I didn't need to own a house, but I need my own place. I need to be financially stable enough to afford my apartment, my car, my life, which is not extravagant, but it's nice. I have a decent life.
You're the bougiest little thing I've ever met. Or
I am. Hey. And so, but it was like,
you have glitter in your eyes.
I have glitter in my eyes. Custom made. I mean, I've been freezing it all week for this. And so, but it's like my North Star was being able to afford my own lifestyle. I can afford my rent. I can afford things in my life. And I'm not in a feast or famine mindset anymore, or like hustle, like I have to work or whatever. But back to what you were saying, yes, when I went to coding school, I couldn't do nails anymore. So I Ubered in between before and after class. And I lived off like $1,500 a month, like just barely scraping by. And I would have to go to my sister who, freaking has a space tech job, and so I was just
literally.
yeah, literally. And I was just like, Mimi, can you buy me this? Mimi, can I have this? Like, she has 3 kids. She had 4 kids. That's what it was, because I was the little sister. And so it was like, hey, can you buy me this shirt? Can you buy, like, she was my mom. She was my mom.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I had a very soft place to land that was very welcoming. And I got close to my family that I wasn't very close to. And I'm very, very thankful for that. And so yeah, it took me 5 years, and just recently I moved into my own apartment, and I call it reaching my Everest, or like just getting to my North Star, that I was like, I did it. And now it's time to go and create bigger goals for my life.
Yes.
Because now I have the space to do that. And I have something that, again, no one can wake up and say, I don't want this for you. I don't want you. No one can take it away from me. I gave it to myself. And that is I'm so proud of myself, and I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. Yeah, I'm proud of myself.
You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
That's, I think, something that we need to do as well, is like share with our friends, even our little successes with each step that we take towards these like goals during these life pivots. You know what I'm saying? Because like yours is your own space. I 100% totally like empathize, I guess, with that, because every time one of my marriages broke up, I was literally left homeless every single time. So now my North Star is buying a house where I'm at. And the best part about that is that I could probably look right now and get my own house, but I'm like trying to like just take the right steps towards getting it. And I just can't wait for that day. Like, I'm still, for our listeners, in the middle of my life pivot. I just got the paperwork from my current divorce that they were filed at the end of August. So now I'm still like in the middle of that, and it gets finalized in 90 days, but like I'm still having to go through a whole other start over, a whole other life pivot, and I'm 40 years old. And that touches on the point of, you're going to go through a couple throughout your life, and they might be easy or they might be really shitty. But it doesn't matter how old you are when you go through them. You can do it. Because I went through them when I was in my 20s, in my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. And it's like, there's a life pit. I'm going to make a square. I'm just making a left turn every 10 years.
Pivot. We couldn't have a podcast without saying pivot. Pivot.
Yeah. But like they just happen. Sometimes they happen to you, or like with me, I made the choice, like consciously, I was like, you cannot stay here. You can't stay in this. You are going to have to start over with nothing 5,000 miles away from where you live, or 3,000. I don't know. I moved from Arizona to Virginia.
And I will say, what a thought that was comforting to me, even though this is not necessarily a comforting thought, when I was struggling with going through my divorce actively at that time, was, oh my gosh, my marriage is a failure. And I said, well, listen, just because people stay married doesn't mean their marriage is a success.
That's
true. Doesn't mean that they're happy. They're also just afraid, or whatever it is, whatever they decide.
Like everybody has their own reasons, and I don't want people to like look at other people's marriages on social media and think everything is great, because quite frankly, marriage sucks. It's hard.
Yeah.
Right. It's not
Mhm.
an easy thing if you're in a marriage with somebody. And like, if they've been married for 10, 15 years, everybody needs to know that they've gone through some shit.
And I think whether if someone doesn't have their life transition forced upon them, or they are maybe languishing,
Making it.
choosing, you know, it's like, pick your hard, pick your
Yeah.
hard, whatever. And one, you only live once, but two, it's also like the time is going to pass anyways.
Yep.
And if I had stayed or tried to make it work or begged, you know, to stay, it's like, I used to wonder what that life would have been had I stayed. And I don't anymore, because I do not long for, oh, like maybe I made the wrong choice. Like, again, it's just a choice. Your life doesn't have a path. You choose, you are making the path. You are trailblazing as you go. And so it's like there is no wrong choice. So I was in the incorrect mindset to say, like, oh, am I making the right choice, the wrong choice? You're just, choices are neutral.
You were in the right, incorrect mindset, thinking that your marriage failed, as was I.
Yeah. And
I
then
don't think marriages can quote unquote fail. I just think that sometimes marriages are only supposed to last that amount of time.
correct.
Like, I don't believe society's opinion that marriage should last forever till death. I understand that that's what we say to each other at the altar, but
Mm-hmm. With
sometimes
best
we're
of
just in each
intentions.
other's lives for the chapter, not the entire book.
Yeah. And my divorce, when we got divorced, we walked hand in hand out of that courthouse. And I felt like after the contentious part ended, that it was a very amicable divorce. I was like, I don't hate my ex-husband, because I never got a chance to, because we didn't stay together that long to like
Right.
grow truly resentful and spiteful to one another. So I was like, I'm glad I married him. I'm glad I got divorced from him. I don't regret my marriage. And I was like, that's just a chapter. And that was it. And so it's like
chapters.
couple of
Actually,
13 years is a long time, but
it's a
it's
lot of
just
chapters.
a lot of chapters.
Like
But
4 chapters.
it's more of, we didn't stay too long. We didn't stay too long in there. And even though we don't speak now, we've gone off into our own pathways. What's done is
Lives.
done. Yes, absolutely. But it's just more of like, I like that I don't have resentments or a care in the world. I am very ambivalent about my divorce, because we
That
got
shit's a
out
blessing.
when the
So I'm
time
just
was
gonna,
right.
yeah, no, I'm gonna
Time was right.
speak for the rest of the women out here. I hate all 3 of my exes.
Mm-hmm.
Hate them. Like that.
Yeah.
Deep bass growl. But if I didn't learn the same lesson 3 damn times, let me tell you, if you don't learn it the first time, the universe is gonna send it out to you 1 or 2 more times before you figure it out. And I figured it out this
Figured
time.
it out. And I will say, maybe like as far as some takeaways from our own life lessons, is starting over for me makes it easier for me to walk away from something that does not serve me. Be like,
Yep.
I don't have to settle for a shit relationship. It doesn't serve me. Thank you. Like, I know when something is bad for me now, and I'm like, no. And it's easy to walk away.
Much easier.
Yeah.
It's been easier for me to a lot of my life pivots have come with the fact that I'm getting a divorce, the fact that a relationship is ending, and my life completely changing. And now that I am back in the dating world, these life pivots have allowed me to, dating's a little bit easier. You know what I mean? I know exactly what I do want and I don't want. And it is much easier to get through that line.
Let me
It's
ask
like,
you.
no, 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 yes. Okay, you can say 10 sentences to me. Good luck.
Yeah.
And if they don't impress me in 10 sentences, sister, you've seen me drop them like hotcakes.
Hotcakes. Let me ask you this. Could you have left your third marriage as easily had it not been for what you went through for the first and second?
Wow, that's a really, really good question. I think the answer is no. I'm going to be really, really honest. I don't think I would have known and had the belief in myself if I hadn't gone through the trauma of the first and second marriages ending the way they did, with police officers picking up my fucking husbands and taking them straight to jail, and me having to pick up the pieces with 2 kids. If I didn't go through that, I would not have been as brave and tenacious and adamant of leaving the toxic situation that I was in. I would have been too scared. I think I wouldn't have believed in myself as much as I did. In my head, I was like, I've got a job. I've got a little bit of money. I am able to like get the fuck out of here. We had just bought a house. I left with nothing, no furniture, nothing. I put most of my shit in storage, and I do not think I could have done it. I might have stayed in a really bad situation for a really long time. So that literally speaks to how lessons help you through shit that you go through in the future.
And the strength that you have gained. Because
yeah.
Jack, I believe there is a quote from Ovid, and I may be misquoting this, but he does say, be faithful and strong, for one day this pain will be useful to you. And so it's just like,
stop, I'm literally gonna cry, dude.
So it's
that is exactly it. That is exactly it. That is exactly it. The way I sometimes, when I do my mirror speeches, say, you've been through worse. You have been through shit that you didn't think you were going to get through, and you got through it because you're here today. So you just need to take this 1 second at a time until those seconds turn into minutes. Those minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into days. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And then before you know it, the months are years, and you've learned that lesson, and you'll have that strength in you from going through that.
Yes.
And I love that quote, Rachel. You got me all emotional.
Shall I say it again?
Say it again.
Say it again.
I'm going to take a drink while you say it.
Okay. Be faithful and strong, for one day this pain will be useful to you.
Snaps, Ovid. Snaps. Dude, the way that's true.
Yeah.
The way that's true. Oh, I love it.
And I'm sure at the time of divorce number 2, you didn't feel it was setting you up for success in the future.
No, I was just in shock.
I
was in shock. I didn't think I was going to be able to get through that. I didn't think that what I went through was going to ever happen to me or anybody that I knew.
Yeah.
At all. And I had every right to get addicted to drugs at that point, but I didn't. And then I was able to use that strength of that shitty thing happened to me. This isn't where I want to be. I need to start completely over. And I just fucking threw caution to the wind and said, I can do it. And one thing I have to say is that sometimes you're terrified of making that change, but you all need to know that that fear is produced by the same part of your brain that produces excitement. So say out loud, this is not fear. This is excitement for this pivot, and my life's about to change for the better. And just go through it. Walk the path, one foot in front of the other. The next best decision, make it. And you'll get through it. You'll get through it. And don't worry about what other fucking people think.
And I think back to who I was at 34. I think I cried for 3 days straight. Right. And I just think about, and I call her little Rachel, like little 30
baby
Rachel, you know,
only a couple of years ago, but still baby Rachel.
That it's like, I will say this and I will say it again. It's like, I did not have a great enough imagination to even believe my life could be where it is right now. And I would just I did nails part-time. I was working at the coffee cart at Coronado Ferry Landing, and it's like, I had nothing. I felt I was nothing, and it was just more of, I would just wish I could just go back and hug her and be like, baby, it is going to be okay.
You're going to be fine.
Because my life is better than I could have ever imagined it. Because if I said, Rachel, in 5 years, you're going to work for NASA and you're going to have your own apartment with all the furniture that you pick out.
You'd have been like, give me
I'd
$1
be like,
million.
get the fuck out of
You're
here. No
a fucking
way.
liar.
No. Mm-mm. And I am so grateful that I did not have an imagination big enough for what the universe held in store for me.
Pleasantly surprised by that path. The universe it just lays itself out. And if you don't get on that path, it'll put down a brick wall.
It's the unknown, and that's okay.
Get excited for it, really.
Yes.
At this point. I love that trick though. I think I'm gonna use that more often. Think about where I could be and just talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
What I like to do is think about the woman I want to be, and then what would she do? And then I make decisions that I think she would make. And then I show it to her. And then one day I will just be her. And
I love that. Yeah, these are all amazing tools that people can use, quite frankly, to get through this. Make your change. Make your change. Go on the life pivot.
Well, I don't think it could have been any better than that, Jacqueline.
No, me either.
We're going to raise our glass.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to the life pivot.
Cheers to the life pivot. And to know that it was hard, but it was worth it.
Every single time.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Well, I don't know how to end any better than that. So we will.
I don't either. Should we do a quick 3 card?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I nearly forgot. I was so
I almost forgot too, because we were like knee deep in the chisme. In the inspiration. Yes. So
now listen, pull, Jackie, for the spell. We had the whiskey. Now we're here for the spellbound.
Time for the spellbound. So here's the thing about tonight's 3-card pull, you guys. Mm-hmm. Now, people are going to be listening later on, but tonight, Rachel, is the full blue super moon. What is a blue moon? A blue moon is when there's 2 full moons in 1 month. And so that happened at the beginning of August and at the end of August this month. We had bookend blue moons, and there's a super moon because it's much bigger than the sky. What that's great for, if we ever have a blue moon again, is for manifesting miracles. Manifest your miracles. Light your white candles, write on that bay leaf the miracle you're looking for, whether it be money or love or what have you. And then just hold your intention to that when you write it on the bay leaf, and then burn that bitch under the blue moon, and believe with every emotion and ounce in your soul that shit is going to come true. Because literally, once you feel the emotion of it coming true, it might take its time, but manifestation always takes a time, because it's got to lay out the path that you're asking for. So tonight, I have a single card that just jumped out of the deck. So this is it's the One of Swords. And I just like to look it up, quite frankly. Ace of Swords, not One of Swords, but I like to look it up just to double check my gut feeling, because sometimes I have a gut feeling and then I don't know. I think I think I question myself a lot in my reading power. So I know you're looking at me like
that is a lesson for another day.
I know. The Ace of Swords has everything to do with the new beginning. And that's what popped out when I was reading when I was talking about the full moon and miracles. And we're talking right now about starting over and being brave and not giving a shit what other people say. And the Ace of Swords is all about a decisive new beginning. And it might come as a painful surprise. I know, chills. I'm literally getting it.
Gasp.
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 Okay. So what are the other 2? I cannot wait. My breath is baited.
With bated breath, we
Mm.
have, I love a Queen of Pentacles when she comes out. So again, Queen of Pentacles has a lot to do with being like a caretaker, taking care of everything. So that makes sense, especially from a woman's perspective. Like when we go through a life pivot, we're literally the person who has to take care of it all, whether we have kids or
Mhm.
animals. We have it's shocking to the system, and you're responsible for freaking everything.
Mhm.
So when you go through that life pivot, just understand that you have the power inside of you, and everything can and will be taken care of as long as you continue on your path. Just I can't say enough to make the next right decision. I just feel like I need to say that over and over for people. Make the next right decision when you're going through that life pivot. And then the final one is the Knight of Swords.
Jackie, while you're looking that up, can I just show you how glittery?
Holy shit. That's it. I'm bringing edible glitter wherever I freaking go.
When you come to visit,
I can't wait. Glitter drinks
glitter
every
drinks
day.
galore. Yes. Okay.
So, Knight of Swords has a lot to do with lack of preparation. So,
Because we can't
this
prep for these things.
you can't prep for a life pivot.
Mm-mm.
Just cannot. So really, I feel like this reading was just all about how to make that big change. Stay in your power because you are the fucking queen. You're the queen and you have to take care of everybody. So make that next right decision. Put 1 second turns into 1 minute, 1 minute turns into 1 hour. Keep going. Never stop, because honestly, those life pivots are going to come at you without warning. But you got this. Even if you're afraid, even if you wonder, even if you're afraid of what people are going to fucking think of you, just go.
And I will say this, I heard this somewhere where it's you've survived 100% of your worst days.
Exactly.
100%. I have 100% success rate.
I don't know if it was successful. I've had a few
Well,
breakdowns
I have
on my worst days,
100%
but I got
of
through
getting
it.
through it.
Got through it.
Jackie, excellent
That was a good
spellbounding
reading.
today. Chills.
I don't
Ooh, the
know. I don't know
universe
how I
gives
got
you
so
what you need.
every single time you
Mhm.
need an answer, the universe will let you know.
Good bed. All right. And with that, let's take us out. Jackie, Clinks.
Clinkies, Clinky Clinkertons from Clinktown.
Thanks for listening to Whiskey Bent and Spellbound, and we will see you next time.
With Black and
Black and
Whitefield.
Whitefield. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.